1,227 leads enriched in under 6 minutes using just 2 data sources. Hello, I'm Xavier, and in today's video, I'll show you exactly how to use Clay, the complete beginner tutorial covering everything you need to know. The features, the pricing, how to build your first table, and by the end of this video, you'll have a solid foundation to start building your own lead list and outbound campaigns. And trust me, we're going to cover a lot. So if you're clicking on this video thinking, Clay is so complex, there's too much to learn, don't worry, I'll walk you through everything. And it's actually way easier than most people think. If you're not familiar with Clay, it's a data enrichment and go-to-market automation platform that basically allows you to build your entire outbound motion in one place. I've been using Clay for almost 2 years now to run my agency, Oneaway. We're a go-to-market agency specializing in cold email for B2B SaaS companies. We've used Clay to help our clients generate over $100 million in pipeline, and I'm telling you, any B2B company that I start, I would be using Clay to power the outbound. It's really that powerful. The reason is simple. Clay gives you access to 105 plus data sources, AI-powered research, and lets you automate the entire prospecting process. But here's the thing, it can also replace a bunch of tools you're already paying for. If you're paying for Apollo, Zoom Info, Lucia, and a bunch of other data tools separately, Clay can consolidate most of that into one platform and actually save you money. And I have to mention, if you use my affiliate link in the description, you'll get 3,000 free credits when you upgrade your plan. That's about $150 worth of enrichment credits to get you started. All right, now before we dive in, I need to tell you the #1 thing that helped me master Clay, and it's the same advice I give to every client we onboard. You need to get your hands dirty. You need to actually follow along, click around, and build things yourself. Don't just watch this video and think you're learning. For example, let me tell you what happened to me. I watched a ton of Clay tutorials. I thought I understood it, but I was still confused. Then I spent an entire week locked in my friend James's basement doing nothing but building Clay tables. No distractions, just me, Clay, and a mission to figure this thing out. And by the end of the week, everything clicked. I understood the logic, the workflows, the integrations, all of it. So I really encourage you, pause this video when you need to, open Clay in another tab, and build alongside me. That's how you'll actually learn how to use this platform. All right, now let's talk about what Clay actually is, and of course, let's talk about pricing. Clay has a few different pricing tiers. There's a free plan to get started, and then there are paid plans that scale based on how many credits you use per month. So Clay offers a free plan, so you get 100 credits per month. You get to use their Claygent, which we're gonna cover a bit later in this video. In my opinion, it's the most powerful feature that they have. So the fact that it's offered for free in their free plan, really good sign. You get to roll over your credits. That means if you don't use your 100 credits for this month, it will be added for next month. So you'll have 200 credits and you'll get access to all of their integrations. The next plan is their starter plan. It's for $149 per month. You get 2,000 credits. You get up to 5,000 searches when you're building Clay tables, which also we'll cover a bit later in the video. And then in addition to all the features we just mentioned, you get to have the scheduling feature, which is really handy. So the things that we build in Clay sometimes can be triggered by either actions, or you can trigger it based on time. So you can say, okay, I want this Clay table to run once a week or so on. Again, I promise this will all make sense very soon. You get to enrich phone number data, you get to add your own API keys, and you get to have signals. So signals you use to build really clever workflows such as website visitors or Twitter mentions and so on. And Clay's been investing a lot of their R&D into this. And again, you're gonna hear me say this 10 times, more on that in a bit. The next plan is the Explorer plan, which this plan, I'll be honest, is usually enough for most people watching this video. This plan, you get 10,000 credits per month. You get up to 10,000 searches per month. You get everything that I've mentioned so far in addition to integrating with any HTTP API. This allows you to build very custom workflows with any app, even if it's not in the integration providers that Clay has. You get to have webhooks. This is easily my favorite feature. You get to build really, really cool workflows with webhooks. You get email sequencing integration, so you can launch cold email at scale, which again, most people are probably watching this video because of this. And then you can exclude people or company filters. Also really good for list building. The next plan is the Pro plan. For $800 per month, you get 50,000 credits per month, so a pretty big jump. And then you get up to 25,000 searches, and you get everything I've just mentioned in addition to CRM integrations. Now, this plan is usually suited for companies that have HubSpot, Salesforce, or Pipedrive, and they want to sync up their data with their CRM. So fun fact for you, most of Clay's use case is actually for CRM integration. This is extremely handy if you have a very cluttered CRM. You have multiple salespeople that are constantly updating their CRM, that are constantly going into the CRM to find out who should I be reaching out to that we spoke with 3 months ago, are they still at the job, and so on. This feature right here, even though there's only one difference and then the price goes up by more than double, it's really worth it. So I would definitely recommend this if you're a company that is using like a big CRM tool like the HubSpot or the Salesforce of the world. And then the last plan is Enterprise. So this is going to be custom based on your use case. You will get everything I've just mentioned in addition to unlimited rows. So this will be really handy if, again, you're a really big company and you're going after a lot of people. There's a row limit that Clay has on all the other plans. You get 40 action columns per table. So actions essentially refer to things that you do in Clay. But if you don't have Enterprise, you're limited. With Enterprise, you get to have 40, which is quite a lot. AI prompting support can be pretty handy. Data engineering for Snowflake, dedicated Slack support, credit reporting analytics, because at that point you'll probably be spending a lot of money, so you should have more exposure on where your money is going. They offer that, and SSO. So this is the breakdown of Clay's pricing. And now let's talk about what credits are exactly, because you can see from the outside looking in, it looks like the pricing is based on credits. So let me break down what credits are. I want you to think of them as tokens. Most enrichment actions cost credits. So finding an email might cost anywhere between 1 to 3 credits depending on the provider. Running AI research might cost 5 to 10 credits. The more you use Clay, the more credits you'll need. But the good news is that Clay has over 105 data providers built in. So you can waterfall through multiple sources to get the best data coverage without paying for each tool separately. And I cannot stress enough how important what I just said is, because Clay's most useful feature that people overlook is the testing feature. So before Clay existed, before I used Clay, I would have to go sign up to like 10 different tools in order to know which is good, which is bad. And I would actually end up spending way more than $349, because again, that's the plan I'm going to recommend to most people watching this video. But with the $349 plan, I get 10,000 credits, allowing me to test and figure out which, let's say, email provider in this example is best suited for me. Because the email providers usually have different coverage depending on who you're targeting. And this to me is a huge unlock because it allows me to test at a major discount. And once I know which tool is the right fit for me, then I can go to that tool and I can purchase however many credits or even purchase an enterprise deal with them and then save quite a lot of money. Now we're in the part of the video where I think we should start building a Clay table. So let me show you how to do that. Okay, so when you log into Clay, you'll see what I'm seeing right now. And you want to just get started by clicking on either new, or you can click on import CSV if you have one, or if you're on the more expensive plan, you can import from your CRM, or you can get started right away by finding companies or finding people. For beginners, I recommend on clicking either on find companies or find people. So if you click like this, you're gonna get this view. Now, Clay's been doing a great job at continuing to update the user experience. So if you're watching this video, let's say in a couple months from me posting and it looks a bit different, don't panic. It's going to be relatively the same. Just take a second to look around and you will be able to figure your way around. So what I'm looking at now is I have a lot of options to include a lot of different filters depending on who I want to target. So we're just going to go ahead and try to build a lead list together, right? So let's say the industry that I want to go after is, I'll go with software. Okay. And then let's say company size, I want to go after bigger companies. So let's say 51 to 200 and 201 to 500. I want them to have raised money, but not a crazy amount. I'm actually gonna cancel this. So just anywhere between a couple 100,000 to 10 million, let's say. Let's go to, actually the AI filters I like quite a lot. They added this recently and it's a big time saver. So I'm gonna say I want B2B companies, and then revenue streams, let's go with subscription reoccurring, okay? And then location is gonna be a big one. So as you can see, the number, by the way, obviously keeps going down because I'm adding more filters. So I'm gonna say I wanna go after companies in the US. So how many is that? 691, let's add Canada as well. We're at 754, let's add United Kingdom. And then I speak French, so I'm gonna do France. 950, that's good. That's good enough for me. You can add more filters. You can exclude companies. So if you have a DNC list, what you can do is you can have a separate spreadsheet, because like Clay is basically a very smart spreadsheet, is how I like to say it. So you can have another spreadsheet in Clay where you track all the companies that you don't want to contact. And then you can say, okay, exclude any company from, and then you select that table. So pretty straightforward. You can also build lookalike list. So you can say, you know what, I want companies similar to my company, like Oneaway.io. So I can do this, and then it will start recommending companies that are similar to mine, okay? And then you can also write a description of the product and service that these companies have. And this is really clever that Clay did, because it actually saves you a lot of credits and AI usage, because back in the day, we would have to do it by essentially scraping the website and then asking AI, okay, based on the scraping, does this offer X, Y, and Z? So you can do that, but just for the sake of the video, I don't want to overwhelm you. I'm just gonna add these very simple filters, okay? And I'm gonna click continue. Okay, so what I'm going to do for here is show you actually two views. This view right now is what we just created together, but I want you to understand that this is how you would start. Like if you want to start from scratch, it's literally just this, right? It's just a spreadsheet, and then you can add columns to it, right? So let me go over what every single one of these are. And then I promise, I think this is gonna make it easier when we go back to here, okay? Okay, so now what we're looking at is a Clay table, and you can have multiple Clay tables in a workbook, okay? So if you were to go from scratch and click on new, you can create a workbook, and in that workbook, you can have multiple tables, okay? So let's go back here, okay? And I'm gonna call this, so it's easy for us to follow, is let's call it Clay tutorial company table for now, okay? Let me explain what each of these mean. If you click on add enrichment, the enrichments are basically actions, things that Clay can do, okay? And we're gonna cover a lot of this in this video, but you can basically say, find me work email, find me the company domain, find me the monthly website visitors, and so on and so on, okay? The next thing is use AI. Clay, I'm pretty sure added this because it's their most used feature. So if I click on this, it's going to give me two options. Either I can explain to it what I want with just plain English, like let's say with this example, find the CEO of the company in their LinkedIn profile, or I can configure it myself manually, which again, we're gonna go over in a sec. Right now, again, guys, I'm just going through this a bit quickly to give you a bird's eye view of what you can do, and then we'll dive a bit deeper, okay? If I click on message, here, the message drafting is for Clay's newest feature to launch cold email campaigns from Clay. This is going to be quite complex to explain, so I'm not gonna do it in this video, but just know that this is a relatively new feature, but you could still use your favorite email sequencer provider like SmartLead, Instantly, Lemlist, but Clay has it also built into the product. Waterfall, this is probably one of the things that Clay is most known for. Waterfall allows you, so let's say if I click on number, to pick multiple columns, and then it's exactly what the word sounds like a waterfall, and then dictate how the workflow is going to go. So let's say step one, find me this. And if step one cannot find it, step two will try to find it, and so on and so on. Then we have formula. This is also one of Clay's most powerful features. So the formula allows you to write in plain English what you want. And this costs no credits, by the way. And then it just does it for you. So for example, actually, we can quickly go back here. If I wanted, I'm gonna do a really simple one. I'm gonna insert one column formula. I'm gonna say, get the first word from, and then / to mention anything, description, generate. And now you're gonna see, first word is Quartic. First word here is Darwix, output is Darwix, and so on. So this can actually be extremely useful. And the fact that it's for free is also a great plus. Merge columns is exactly what it sounds like. You're merging a couple of columns together. So you get to pick the columns that you want to merge, and then you put them together. And then text, also exactly what it sounds like. If I add a text column, I can just type here, custom, whatever, right? Text column. You can make a number column, exactly what it sounds like. Currency, same thing, date, URL, email, and image from URL. And lastly, you can add a checkbox column as well. This can be handy for certain workflows. You can add a select column. So I can say here, I don't know, Facebook, okay? Then boom, or I can also say Clay. Just a little bit more neatly organized. And then you can also assign to people in your workspace, okay? So now that you just have a very quick overview of like what kind of things you can use in the columns, let's now go back to the table that we built. So what are we looking at here? We're looking at a company table, right? Pretty straightforward. So these companies, if I click on any of them, you'll see that we get a bunch of data, and this is all loaded for free. I have not spent a single dime. I have not spent a single Clay credit, okay? So far, this is all for free. So what do we get? We get the name, we get the size, we get type, domain, country, industry, location. We get a description, which is really handy. We get the LinkedIn URL, we get the annual revenue. If you remember, we use that as one of the filter points, okay? And we get a bit more information based on what Clay has been able to scrape for us, right? So let me just close this off. And then we get this in a spreadsheet view, which at least to me is really handy, because the way you want to think about building workflows in Clay is from left to right. Very straightforward, right? Okay, so now what's the next step? Usually after you build a Clay company table, what do you want to do? You want to find people, right? But now let's say you want to figure out exactly what the company does, and you want to generate the output as a one-liner. Like let's say you want to be able to say something like this. I'm going to do this live with you. I like to use the text column to like write out my thoughts. So let's say I want to say something like, because I'm building this in order to launch an email campaign, right? Let's imagine that. And I want to say something like, hey, Xavier, saw that company name helps whoever it helps with their problem, okay? So I'm going to copy this for now. I'm going to go to use AI. And then I'm going to show you how to use the generate AI feature. So what would you like AI to do? I want the AI to visit / to mention any of the columns. So I want it to visit the website. So let's see if I type domain, visit the domain, and based on the content of the website, I want to visit website. I want it to generate an output that looks like this. Saw that company name helps, and I'm going to be a little bit more specific here, helps target ICP of that company with solution of the company. I'm going to say I want the output to be short and straight to the point. Okay? I'm going to click on generate. This is really helpful because I find a lot of people still struggle with prompt engineering, and to be fair, I even struggle with it sometimes. But this now, you're letting Clay do the prompting by itself. So you're gonna see it's generating everything for you. Okay, awesome. So now, sometimes this happens, so you wanna obviously proofread it. So let's see, whenever you see this, that means it didn't tag it correctly, which is fine. So we're gonna go ahead, I'm gonna erase this. I wanna say saw that company name, right? And the reason why it does that is because I use this. So I'm gonna actually just type it myself. So that saw that company name helps, I'm gonna say here, target ICP with solution that the company offers. And then I'm gonna go ahead and replace here. So again, guys, don't freak out. This happened because I used these brackets. There we go, yeah. So saw that, let me fix this up real quick. Replay, so let's see, if either ICP or solution cannot be found on the site, return saw that company helps information not found, and then replace as and do not add guesses. Okay. I'm gonna save and not run because I don't want to burn credits. Here's a quick pro tip. If you click on here and then edit table settings, turn this off, auto update. This way, Clay won't run the entire table by accident, and then you get to save credits. You have no idea how much I've done this by accident, and it absolutely sucks. So right now, let me just run a couple of these with you manually. I'm gonna go ahead and delete this. So just right click, delete column. Okay, so now that it's done, we can look at a quick example. So it says, saw that Quartic helps manufacturers with AI for manufacturing decision intelligence. That's like a one-liner you can use. Saw that Darwik's AI helps revenue teams with Gen AI-powered omnichannel conversational intelligence and workflow automation. You can obviously make this shorter. You can add more examples in the prompt to make it flow smoother, to be honest. But again, just for the sake of this video, I want to show you why this is really helpful and how we're going to use it when we build our lead list. Okay? So now I'm going to go ahead and find the people that work at these companies. So now if you click on actions and you click on sources, then click on find people at these companies, it's exactly what it sounds like. Now we are searching based on the URLs that we have of the companies that we just filtered for. I highly recommend you build lead lists like this. It's just more organized this way, and it gets you to save a lot of credits, and we'll see how and why in a bit. So let's say job title, I'm gonna go ahead and pick owner, okay, and then C-suite. Okay, I'm gonna be very specific here, or you know what? No, I'm gonna leave it broad. Let's do that. I'm gonna say language. I need them to speak English for this. Okay. You can also exclude people. So same logic as before. If you exclude the companies, that should already be enough. But you can have exclude people as well if you're very anxious and you don't want to contact someone by accident. Let's see what else. Location. I'm gonna leave it as broad for now. And yeah, that should be good. I'm gonna click continue. Import to new table. So you can click and drag, by the way. I'm gonna just put it next to the company table so it's a little bit more organized and easier to follow through. And now we have all this data again for free. I have not yet spent a single dime. And if I click on the cell, you'll see I get their name, the domain that they're from, last name, location, where they're from. And then here's what I want to show you real quick. Now let me show you why I wanted to run these with you, like these three. So obviously, if I have, let's say, just 3 companies that I'm reaching out to, right? These 3, I'm not actually just reaching out to 3. I'm reaching out probably to 6 because I might want to reach out to 2 people per company, right? However, what I find most people miss, and this is the simplest way to save credits and money on Clay, is that if I'm making an outbound campaign that is very tailored or it's very custom to the company, I'm usually using a data point that is special to the company and not the person. So if I don't do the scraping on the company level, but I do it on the lead level, then I end up spending 2 to 3 times the credits because I could have just spent it once. So for example, let's say Quartic, I used this right here, right? So I spent 1 credit, or in this case, I think it's 3 credits. I'm using my API key here, so I'm actually not spending any credits to do this. So if I go to find people and I search Quartic, just to show you, you'll see it looks like I have 2 leads from there, right? But if I scroll now to the left, okay, and I click on here and I run this, I'm gonna run both of them actually. You will see what it's doing now. It's pulling all the information I have from my company table. So now if I add this as a column, right, this is literally the output that I generated there. And you're gonna see I have it for both of those people. And you guessed it, I'm gonna wanna use it for both of those people because it applies for both of them, but I spent it once instead of having to spend it twice, okay? I really hope that made sense. If it was a bit confusing, honestly, either rewatch or drop a comment down below and I will try to send you a custom Loom video to explain this to you. But whenever I hire people to work at our agency, I make sure they understand this because we end up saving so much money and credits by doing that. But okay, let's keep going with the tutorial just to show you now what we can do here. Let's say this is the information I have and I want to launch an email campaign. And again, that is actually the second most used use case for people that use Clay. I would click on actions and then I can stay in enrichments, and I'm gonna go ahead and pick work email, okay? Now I recommend you do the quick setup, it's just easy. You're gonna need the full name, the company domain, the LinkedIn profile, and the company name, which as you can see, Clay already populates that for you automatically, which is super nice. It didn't do that when I first used Clay, so you guys have no idea how much I appreciate this little attention to detail. It saves me a lot of time. And now if I click on save, I'm not gonna run, And if you remember, guys, I just mentioned this. I'm gonna click on here, edit table settings, and I always turn this off. I will only turn this on once I've configured my table so I don't end up burning credits. And now you get this. If you click on these little arrows, it's gonna show you what's going on here, okay? This is the waterfall. If you remember earlier in the video, I showed you here, if you click on that column, waterfall, this is what that is, okay? So what's happening here? And we're gonna run a sample just to show you. If I click on this button, I can run the first 10 rows, which, you know what, let's do it, it's fine. And what's gonna happen is first is going to use Lead Magic to try to find a work email, which Lead Magic is really good. So as you can see, it found almost all of the emails. It then is going to validate the email account. That would be the next step. So I'm gonna turn and run this. Again, I have to do it manually now because I have it turned off, just to show you like step by step what it looks like. And then that triggers, you see the reason why this says run condition not met, because this is pre-configured, Clay does this for you, is basically saying if the email is found and if it's valid, then there's no need to do anything more. But in this case, an email was found, but it wasn't valid. So now if I click and I run this, it's gonna run 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And let's see, it found these emails, but now we need to validate these again. So it's gonna only run these 4 columns. And let's see, it was able to validate all of them. So now we don't need to use any of the other providers, right? And now if you go to the end, we have a clean output of work emails that we can use to launch our cold email campaign. This is probably the feature that most sales leaders are looking at to give to their BDR team, because the amount of coverage you can have with this is incredible. You can test, like right now, we have it set up like this, but if I go on edit group and full configuration, I can play around who I want to be at the top. As in, if I find, let's just imagine in this example, Lead Magic was only able to find 1 email, right? And then if I run this on a big table and then I see, okay, Lead Magic does not have good coverage for my ICP, but then I see that, I don't know, let's say Prospio was able to find majority of the email accounts, then it might be worth for me in the future to say, I'm gonna start with Prospio, right? I'm gonna push it at the top, and then I'm probably gonna call up Prospio and say, hey guys, we're spending a lot of Clay credits on you. We're ready to make the jump and pay you directly, and then add our own API key in there. So that's why if you see this right here, using your API key, you can configure your own API key. So let's see if I pick this one, okay? I don't have an API key with Datagma, but I can click on here, and I can add an account, and then I can call it whatever, Xavier.tagma, and I can paste my API key here, and then done. That's it. And I want to mention, this is not me trying to like be sneaky and tell you this is what you should do, like go behind Clay's back. Clay tells you to do this. Clay is not trying to force their credit system down your throat. They actually tell you, once you figure out who's the right provider, go sign up with them. Get your API key, put it in your Clay account, and you'll save up a lot of money. So it's also important to note that before you commit to getting an API key, each provider will cost a different amount of credits. But the smart part is that Clay only charges you for the provider that successfully returns the email. So if Prospio finds it, you will only pay for Prospio. If Lead Magic finds it, you will only pay for Lead Magic. But now we're at a point where we have the work email, we have, let's say, a one-liner that we generated on a company level. But what if, and let me just close this off so it's a bit more organized. What if now I want to find something specifically based on the lead? So I want to write something really custom, really hyper-personalized. So if I click on Add Column and I click on Use AI, one thing I want to highlight is this right here, the templates. If you click on here, you can click Browse Templates, and you can see all of the templates that either Clay themselves or the Clay community have put together for you to reuse. You can also write your own and then save it for yourself. So it'll be saved here or just here for yourself, right? But let's try to find one thing. Let's go on public. One thing that we can use. Okay, let's have a look at this. LinkedIn profile highlights. Input a LinkedIn profile URL to extract 3 unique noteworthy aspects about the individual based on their background, achievements, skills, or interest. Each point is limited to 15 words max. This looks pretty cool. I'm gonna click on it. I'm just now gonna give Clay what it needs to generate this. So let me search LinkedIn profile. Yep, apply template. So for this case, I'm just gonna use Clay's credit system to run this just to show you. But again, if you click on account, you can add your own API key, okay? I'm gonna go ahead and click on save and don't run. I'm just gonna run a couple of these. And while this is happening, I do want to highlight some things that maybe you saw me just go over and not say anything about, but I will talk about it, I promise. It's this section right here. So you can provide more context for the task that you have your AI doing. This is prompt engineering 101. You can also set Clay credit budget. So this is only relevant if you have a very complex task that you're asking Clay to do. So if you know it's going to have to visit multiple websites and run for a longer period of time, this is more for, to be honest, experts or people that have spent a lot of time already on Clay. Then they can increase the budget. You can choose the output format, either output say as text, or you can output it as a JSON schema. This is still in beta, but it's really, really handy. You can, let's say for example, I want to use Claygent or the AI feature in Clay to write email copy, like the entire copy. What I can do in theory is I can download a huge PDF of all the emails that I've written that I know for sure work really well and I trust the quality of it. And I can upload it here so that this column, when it runs, when I ask it to write email, it'll be using that as its source and as its inspiration, for a lack of a better term, to write good email copy. And then you can also add examples. So examples, really underrated part of the prompt engineering process, because most people just want to write a prompt and say, go and do it. But the best outputs that you can get from prompting are usually backed by a big list of examples. So if you can spend time to do this, you're going to get much better quality, okay? Okay, let's have a look what it did here. So if I click on this, I can also go ahead and add it as a column if that's easier for you guys to consume the content. And if I double click, I can expand, I can see, okay, proven track record in driving strategic partnerships and business growth, expertise in leveraging technology for innovative solutions and efficiency, strong commitment to community involvement and volunteer initiatives. This is cool. Let's see here. Extensive experience in digital marketing and business strategy development, proven track record. Okay, you guys get the idea. This is now very custom made for the person. But let's say I want to do more. If I click on here, templates, let's see if we can find another one as well. Let's look at this. Use location to write email first line. Use education to write email first line. This actually I think would be really cool to see as well. Let's try this out. School. Okay, so since we don't have the school name, we're gonna find it. And I'm gonna show you how we're gonna find it, okay? So I'm gonna add enrichment. I'm gonna search for LinkedIn. Enrich person. You just need the LinkedIn profile, or you can have the work email. And then let me search for school, education, school name. That's what I want. Save, and let's run it for the first three, because we're just gonna test on the first three. Awesome. Where is it? School name, okay, awesome. So now if I go back here, and then I go to use AI, templates, I think I wrote email to find it. Use education, there we go. And now, school name, apply template. This is awesome. So this already has examples preloaded. This is really cool. Save and go run. And I want to highlight, you see how fast I'm going through this? Like, this is, once you get comfortable with Clay, and I'll be honest, like my team is way better than me at Clay. I'm now the guy that makes these kind of videos and is on sales calls. My team can probably do this like 10 times faster than me, but let's see what I was able to do. I saw on LinkedIn you attended ICFAI Business School. The case-based learning approach there sounds incredibly impactful. Okay, not bad. I saw you attended edX. How awesome is it to learn from top universities from around the world? Let's say I'm not very happy with the output and I want something a little bit more complex. Let's try this out. I'm gonna spend way more credits. I'm gonna use this, so the different model. And let's see if we get different quality of output, okay? This is another thing that is really cool with Clay is with LLMs are like, let's say the OpenAIs, the Geminis, and the Claudes of the world. Sometimes they have different outputs, and when they come out with a new model, the quality of the output can be very different. So being able to test that out within Clay is super helpful. So here, okay, I saw on LinkedIn you attended edX. Love that MIT and Harvard teamed up to democratize online learning. Still not bad. You attended Indian Institute of Management, Indore. Must have loved being where the IPM program started. This I actually love. This is really, really cool. This sounds like quite conversational. So you guys get the idea. This is now you can use in your cold email output. The Claygent use case is really up to you. Either you can use templates like I showed you, or you can tell it to visit a website. You can even, there's a new Clay agent feature. Let me show you real quick. Configure. It's the most expensive model they have. Clay Navigator. So Clay Navigator can actually take actions on websites, fill out forms, click on navigation bars. As you can see, it's quite expensive, it's 6 credits, but the possibilities are endless. Okay, so where are we at now? We have a Clay table with companies, decision makers, validated emails, personalized research data. From here, you can either export this to a CSV and upload it to your email tool, or you can integrate Clay directly with platforms like Instantly, Lemlist, or your CRM. As I mentioned earlier in the video, Clay has native integrations with HubSpot, Salesforce, Instantly, Lemlist, and a dozen of other tools. So you can push leads directly into your workflows without any manual work. And here's the beautiful part, is that once you build this table, you can duplicate it and use it as a template for every future campaign that you have. You just swap out the ICP filters and then hit run. And that's how agencies like mine have been able to scale outbound for dozens of other clients. So let's try to now add the leads into Instantly. So I can go click on add enrichment. I can search for Instantly and I can either update lead, but obviously I want to add lead to campaign. So I'm going to click on it. The only thing that you need to do before this is obviously you need to have a campaign inside of Instantly. So as long as you have a campaign inside of Instantly, you can select it from this drop down. So I'm just gonna go ahead and select, this is a campaign that we have, small B2B SaaS, no funding. This obviously doesn't apply to this example, but I'm using it just for demo purposes. Clay already maps out the work email, so you don't need to do it, but just so you know, you can just click on here and then select something else, but obviously you don't need to. First name, it has it correct, last name has it correct, company name, and then for any of the personalization that we used, we can either add it here, or it's easier for me to add it as a custom variable in Instantly. This will probably change depending on the tool that you use, but if I just click on here, and I'm gonna call this, let's say school intro line, and then if I go here, // if you remember, / is for you to mention or pull any of the data from the columns that you have, and it's this one. And then if I click another one, I can select, what's another one that we used? Did we use another one? Well, actually, that's the only one I want to use right now. So I'm gonna click on delete and save and don't run. And now if I click on run, it's going to add the lead to the campaign with the information. Let me actually show you how that works. So we picked small SaaS. So I'm actually gonna do one in front of you real quick, and then we'll delete it, obviously, because we don't want to reach out to this person. So Suresh, it says added to campaign. So Suresh, it says added to campaign. And if I go here and I search Suresh, oh, we got multiple Suresh. Let's find the right one. This guy. Boom. There we go. We have his email. We know which email provider he's using. This is actually an Instantly feature, which is really cool. And then we have the school intro line right here. Right? Now we've only scratched the surface here because Clay can do so much more. It can scrape Google Maps for local businesses. It can monitor LinkedIn for job changes. It can enrich your CRM with fresh data and build lookalike audiences. It can automate multi-step workflows. If you want to go deeper, like we'll have to make this video like 6 hours long, so I highly recommend you check out Clay's University. It's a free course taught by Clay experts. You can also check out some of the Clay templates that they have. There's hundreds of pre-built workflows. And if you're like me, I really enjoyed learning by joining the Clay community. You can join their Slack group and learn from other users. And I find that to be not just really helpful, but also fun to get to know other people that have a similar interest like you. And of course, I post about Clay all the time. I post Clay tutorials and workflows on this channel every week. So make sure to subscribe if you want to keep learning. All right, that's your complete beginner guide to Clay. Let's recap what we covered. What Clay is and how pricing works. How to build your first Clay table from scratch. Finding companies and people with filters. Waterfall email enrichment for max coverage. AI research with Claygent for personalization. Exporting and integrating with your tools. Remember, the key to mastering Clay is actually to build. Don't just watch this video, open Clay, follow along, and experiment. Like, go actually break things. That's how you're going to learn. The amount of money and credits I have wasted on Clay, if I think about it, I'll go in that corner behind me and start crying. But that's how I learned. So I'll remind you again, if you want to get started, use my link in the description to sign up for Clay and get 3,000 bonus credits when you upgrade. That's about $150 worth of free enrichment to kickstart your first campaigns. And we do get a slight kickback when you do this, so it will help this channel and the agency grow. And really appreciate you guys for checking out this video and supporting us. Lastly, if you've never heard of us before, or me, at Oneaway, we've helped now over 50 B2B companies, specifically SaaS companies, implement Clay so they can generate millions in their pipeline. If you want us to build your Clay workflows for you, check us out at oneaway.io. or book a call with us. Link is in the description down below. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this helpful, drop a like, subscribe for more Clay tutorials, cold email strategies, and B2B growth content. And leave a comment. Let me know what more would you like to see. Let me know what you didn't like to see. Would love to hear from you, and I will see you in the next video. Ciao.